Hello, I'm the Hedgehog Ninja, the only ninja brave enough to review anything, anytime, anywhere, any day. Before we review today's movie, let's talk about Jim Varney. This is a guy who I personally think is a man who is dedicated into his roles as an actor. He's one of those guys who I'm able to look at and I'm able to see him put effort into all of his performances, and you can tell he's one of those guys who's dedicated to acting. Sadly, however, on February of 2000, he sadly passed away, leaving behind a great legacy with his dedicated performances. It's really sad that I'll never be able to meet this guy in real life because I would have really liked to hear how he became the man he was. Plus, when you see him behind the scenes, he looks like a really cool guy to hang around with. Unfortunately, I'll never get that opportunity. May this great man rest in peace and give even greater performances in heaven. Alright, so since I brought up Jim Varney, I should talk about some of the roles that he was in. One of them was the role of Slinky in Toy Story 1 and 2. But aren't we forgetting a certain role that he was in? Oh, right! The most iconic character and the character that made him the man he was to this day. Ernest P Worrell. Yeah, did you really think I was going to forget that? Before Jim Varney would go to star in, well, all the movies that he would go to star in, he created the character Ernest P Worrell for television commercials in the 80s. He was in practically every commercial you could think of. Mellow Yellow, dairy products, pancakes, you name it, he would have more than likely have been in a commercial for that product. Eventually, that's where Varney's acting career really started to take flight. After his Ernest character appeared in numerous commercials and guest starred in many random movies, he finally got his very first theatrical released movie in 1987 on his now popular character called Ernest Goes to Camp. And after that, there would go on to be many other movies based on the Ernest character, a grand total of 9 films overall. And I had to admit, that was a pretty dang good job for a character that started out as just a plain old guy who was in every commercial you could think of. So of course, since I brought all of this up, that obviously means that I have to review at least one of these Ernest movies, and that's exactly what we're going to do today. But which one of these movies did I decide to review first? This one, Slam Dunk Ernest. Yeah, you guys don't remember this movie, do ya? Yeah, well that's probably because this movie was never able to hit the theaters, because after the unsatisfying results from Ernest Scared Stupid, all of the other Ernest films after Scared Stupid went direct to video, so it's more than likely you haven't heard of this one as well as the other Ernest films after Scared Stupid because of that reason. And that's why I've decided to make this my first Ernest movie to review, since I believe this movie is that one Ernest movie that practically nobody seems to remember, despite the fact that they got NBA legend Kareem Abdul-Jabbar as one of the stars of this movie. Things like that said usually end in rock bottom at this point. Anyway, despite all of those negative comments, does this movie actually have some good qualities to make it enjoyable, or is there a really good reason as to why this became the most forgotten out of all the Ernest movies? Well, let's dive right into this sucker and find out. This is Slam Dunk Ernest. So, as we see when the opening credits start rolling, we see Ernest as a young boy playing basketball with some kids. And when I say playing, it's more like just watching the kids from a close distance.
We're watching and we're waiting on the edge of our seats, anticipating.
He gets the ball and the kids try to convince him not to shoot, but he does so anyway, resulting in missing the basketball hoop completely, and then the basketball goes on a little misadventure through other parts of the town while the rest of the opening credits play.
Well, he's a real fine cat.
I like an aggressive fish.
From his head right down to his feet.
Is it weird to say that the only thing that's on my mind right now is how does a basketball go through all of this at a precise moment when it hits something? Cut to present day and we see Ernest now as an adult, played of course by the late Jim Varney, who's watching a basketball game with some of his co-workers.
That's it. That's basketball. It's like a romance with the ball. It's like a dance with a hoop. Know what I mean?
So I guess you think you can take it to the hoop now, Ernest?
Huh. Yo, cause you think you could jam like that?
Yeah, please. All right. Don't get him started, all right?
If you fellas would just give me a chance, I could show you.
Yeah, before I move on, I might as well get a problem that's not only in this movie, but in almost all the other Ernest movies too, out of the way. There are some points in the movie where you'll come across Barney making an uncomfortable face in front of the camera, whether he's mugging or just standing there. There's no point nor is there a reason why he's doing it, but only to show off that disturbing grin to the camera. I wouldn't mind so much because I know that Barney's trying here, but a good chunk of the faces that he makes looks like something a child molester would make. I mean, it looks like he's about to eat the camera in any second.
Man the helms! Dive!
Ed, what have you done? Open it? Open it? You should know better than to eat the camera. Just think of what it could do to your digestive tract.
Oh, I can't wait to see that part, Double D.
Yes, well, let's not and say we did, Ed.
But even the many faces from Barney that will eventually haunt your nightmares are nowhere near as bad as the people that he has to work with.
You're in the zone, all right, Ernest.
Yeah, the Twilight Zone. Ernest, brother, I'm gonna let you in on a little secret, Ernest.
Man.
You're short.
Short.
You remember Yoda? Well, you're kind of Yoda.
Yeah.
And you're clumsy, Ernest.
Very clumsy.
And you're not just white, baby. You're whiter than white. You're a redneck.
Please.
Right.
Wow, I never thought it would be this early to feel annoyed and not give a shit about these guys, but they were able to accomplish that. Nice work, assholes. Why don't you try doing the same thing to the Hulk the next time and see how that process goes? Losers. And let me guess, these four are some of the main characters of the movie? And I'm guessing they're going to continue that lame, irritating performance they're delivering? And the chances of them redeeming themselves are... This is gonna be a very tough day, isn't it? But on the plus side, for my sanity that is, the fifth guy of this group of misfits, Barry, is the opposite of the rest of these guys, meaning that he's the only one who's actually tolerable to put up with from these guys. It speaks like an actual human being, unlike the other guys who spit out random talk all the time. So luckily, all these guys Ernest hangs out with aren't teeth-grindingly annoying. Oh yeah, I should also point out that Ernest has a completely pointless love interest in this movie. He's got a crush for the lottery ticket saleswoman at the mall named Irma. But we'll get back to that later though, as we see that Barry also has a kid named Quincy. As he says goodbye to his son, we see the guys playing basketball inside the mall. Wait, what? Okay. Are these guys for real? I mean, abandoning their work is one thing, but playing basketball inside of a mall? Are you serious? Do they do this with their daily lives? Do they live by the saying, screw work, basketball is where it's at? Do they have that posted on their wall? The reason why I'm making a big deal out of this is because, well, they're playing a sport that requires movement in a place that's filled with valuables and breakable objects. I mean, you could argue that they're playing in a certain spot where no breakable objects can be found and it is at a safe distance, but I wouldn't jump to that conclusion just yet. You may never know when the basketball might slip out of their hands and actually break something, whether it be inside the mall itself or in one of the stores of the mall. Heck, most of what a mall is made out of is glass. Couldn't they just be like normal everyday people and just wait till they're done working? Or are they just that desperate to play basketball? And also, it's probably even more dangerous to do something like this, especially if you're around Ernest of all people. Yeah, forgot about that guy, didn't you? Speaking of which, Ernest watches the guys play basketball and wants to get in on the action.
Willie, up here, hit me. Come on, Willie, I'll drop it in the pocket. Hit me, up here. Ah! I'm driving toward the glass. Uh-oh.
Okay, I'll admit that's pretty freaking hilarious right there.
Wait, CJ, watch it, man. Are you crazy? Mr. Ellis paid a fortune for the sculpture. The check.
Oh gee, he ever so subtly said that their boss paid a lot of money on that sculpture and Ernest happens to be right next to it on a ladder. Yeah, I can't see anything going wrong here.
Ernest, no, do not shoot the ball. Don't shoot it, Ernest. Don't be stupid. No.
And this is why we never play any kind of sports in a mall, dumbasses. And I don't care if Ernest is the cause of all this. The fact still remains you never should have done it in the first place.
You stupid mother fucking piece of shit.
As you might expect, they get in trouble for the damage caused. But Ernest blames everything on himself and loses the money from his next paycheck to pay for the damage. Since he busted them out of trouble, they want to repay him for what he did.
We owe you one, man.
Yeah, we owe you, Ernest. So if there's anything we can do to repay you, just let us know, all right?
Yeah.
Well, there is one thing you could do.
Sure, man. What?
You could let me be on the basketball team.
Wait, basketball team? What basketball team? No, seriously, we were never informed about some kind of basketball team of some sort or anything, so what are you talking about? So, apparently these guys are a part of some basketball team and are in some kind of tournament of some sort. I have no damn idea either, people, but that seems to be the gist of it. They don't really explain it very well. So Ernest would like to be part of their team. They start rejecting that, but Barry then tells the guys that they owe him, so they'll make him part of the team, but he'll never play for them. Basically, he'll act as their mascot of some sort. So Ernest becomes part of their basketball team. Later that night, Game 1 of this basketball tournament is about to begin, and we're introduced to the announcer of the tournament as the teams are preparing. She goes by the name Dr. Love. No, seriously, that's who she goes by, Dr. Love.
This is Dr. Love, your medicine woman of the air on WUSH Whoosh. Tonight I'm broadcasting live from the first round of the City League tournament. Clean Sweep and Crater Construction will have the tip-off right after this brief message from Lonnie's One Stop Markets, the place to go when you're in the know.
Anyway, the game begins. Now, I'm not going to show you all that happens, so I'll give you the short and sweet version of the game. Both teams do equally well and Ernest acts like a cheerleader. Creepy. But get a load of this. At the last few seconds of the game, when his team is winning, Ernest accidentally knocks over some basketballs when he was getting his towel and gets called for a technical foul.
You clumsy ox, you.
And that sadly gives the opposing team the win by 1 point from the 2 free throws they scored.
And there's the buzzer. In a bizarre ending, the Clean Sweep lose by 1. But it's a double elimination tournament, so don't throw in the towel yet.
Funny, because last I checked, there was still 1 second left. Don't they even get a chance to get the ball back or anything? In fact, doesn't the clock stop until they bounce the ball back in bounds after a free throw? It's possible to score at the last second of the game, so why did you just end the game when there was still 1 second left? What the hell's wrong with this basketball league? They don't even allow either teams to possibly pull a miracle when there's still 1 second left. They're just like, no, there's no way in hell they'll be able to score 2 points with 1 second left even though it's happened before. Just end the game. I want to get home and catch the last few minutes of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. So his team treats him like Hitler because of his little accident, which, surprisingly enough, I kinda don't blame them. When he's all alone in the locker room, we're introduced to the NBA legend himself, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Who are you?
I'm the Archangel of basketball.
Angel? You mean like the little guy with wings and the bow and arrow?
No, man, that's Cupid. This has got to be a mistake. I got the wrong dude.
Why does he go specifically by the Archangel of basketball? I mean, what does the Archangel of basketball do, and why is he called that? And is the heaven that he's in just like an everyday normal heaven except basketball related or something? All joking aside, the Archangel gives Ernest a pair of shoes, which even he's thinking that the movie's messing with him, and he leaves by saying,
Remember one thing, Ernest. Don't misuse the shoes.
Ernest thinks that this is some kind of prank and gets kind of suspicious. When he puts his shoes into the locker, they seem to magically appear on the doorknob for some reason. When he tries to put them back into his locker numerous times, the shoes suddenly magically put themselves onto Ernest's feet without even lifting them, and they seem to be in control of his feet movements. And when he goes home that night, they seem to be a little too attached to his feet, because when he tries to take them off, the laces don't even come undone. Good God, this is something that the twisted mind of Dr. Cortex would think of. So Ernest goes to sleep and...
What the heck was that?
Yeah, that doesn't need an explanation. That can speak for itself. Let's just move on. Please. During the night, we also see Barry and his son learning that whoever wins the City League tournament will get the opportunity to face off against the Charlotte Hornets, an actual professional NBA team. Not exactly sure why they chose this particular City League tournament out of all the other City League tournaments, but whatever. The next day, the Shoes take Ernest to a basketball court. God, that's something I never thought I would say. And they actually give him the power to fly into the air and give him the opportunity to dunk the ball into the hoop. Ernest then arrives at work only to hear that the manager wants the guys to clean up the entire mall. The only bad thing about this is that they have a game coming up and they need to be there. So Ernest tells the guys to go on ahead and let him clean the whole mall by himself. And of course, the guys accept that with no questions asked. So they head to the game while Ernest starts cleaning.
Ah, sweetheart, they're playing our song. The one we danced to in that smoky little club in Tangiers. Come, let's dance like there's no tomorrow.
Whoa, what the hell? So apparently the shoes not only allow Ernest to levitate, but they also give him supersonic speed. Yeah, could have shown that a while back when he was at that basketball court.
Yes, I do windows.
So yeah, Ernest cleans the entire mall with the help from his shoes, allowing him to clean certain things from high ground. You know, the only thing that's missing here is adding a super fast character like Rev Runner's voice into all of this, and it would be somewhat fitting. You question that and call bull on it? Well, let's add a couple of said characters' voice clips in with all of the fast-paced action that Ernest has going on at the same time. Let's give it a shot.
Rev Runner fights for the saucer, but Rev beats him to it. He lays it into the corner. A dig out by Rev Runner. Another tricky shot, but not quite tricky enough. Rev shoots, saved by Rev Runner. Looks like Rev really can play. He shoots, he scores, and the fans go wild.
Alabama, you burning with desire and I.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I convinced all of you by doing that, didn't I? Cut back to the basketball game, and as it turns out, Ernest's team is doing rather well for the most part. It seems as if the guys have this game in the bag. But it all backfires with Baldy Statistics here as tries to show off for Dr. Love and injures his knee in the process. This obviously means they have to find a replacement for him. Luckily, Ernest finished cleaning the mall and heads to the game. So logically, the best thing to do is to let Ernest play in the game.
I don't believe this. Wait a minute. Play Ernest. He's a registered player.
I'd rather forfeit.
Well, I personally would rather see someone in the audience of a basketball game throw one of their souvenirs at your head so you end up getting injured during the game, resulting in an ambulance rushing over here, and you end up getting in the hospital and see your basketball career to go to shit because of your annoying attitude and cockiness. But hey, life's a bitch. What can I say? So they put Ernest in the game and gets help from his shoes to help his team out, as nobody seems to question how a man is able to fly into the air, nor do they question why he's so fast. No, really, they just act as if it's a normal everyday occurrence. I personally would be suspicious almost immediately, but in these kinds of movies, stuff like this is nothing special. Either way, Ernest and his team ends up winning the game.
Ernest, you're the best! Hey, Uncle Walter. Give me some right there, Dad.
All right, pumpkin head.
Who's that doing all the jumping?
Ernest, do you see what he did? He's incredible, isn't he?
Yes, quite unique. He must have something very special. I wonder what it is.
The shoes.
Oh yeah, it's about time I mentioned a little subplot in this movie. Barry's son keeps seeing these pairs of shoes at the mall that he wants so badly, which happen to be the same pairs of shoes that Ernest has, while this weird, creepy old man is trying to convince him to buy them despite the fact that they're around $200. The reason why I bring this up now is because, well, I hate to spoil everything, but it's needlessly pointless. Seriously, you could just erase this little subplot and it won't affect anything that's going on right now. I'll show you the end result of the subplot later on, but I just want to go ahead and say it's nothing important by any means. Moving on with the main plot of the movie, that creepy old man I just brought up named Zamil Malich enters the locker rooms and, well, congratulates them. Uncomfortably.
You have played one interesting game, son, and I think that you are going to become a very wealthy man. I'll be talking to you more. I got my eye on you. Oh, and looking forward to watching you fellas play against the Charlotte Hornets. That is going to be one very interesting game. Congratulations. I'll see you later.
Yeah, that's not creepy, stalkerish, or showing signs of him possibly being the villain. Nice job of being subtle there, guy. So a good chunk of the rest of the tournament is shown in a montage. It basically shows what Ernest did in the last game. He beats all the teams by using his shoes. So, basically, in other words,
this is deja vu. This is deja vu. This is deja vu.
So Ernest and the rest of the guys are now about to play against the Charlotte Hornets eventually. They all have dinner one night before their big game, and what do you know? That old creepy man arrives as well. And what's this? He's joined by Irma of all people. Yeah, the lady who sells lottery tickets at the mall who's barely had any screen time. Well, there goes Ernest's pointless love interest. And throughout the whole night, they keep glorifying him about how much of a fantastic NBA player he's going to be. They even drag him into their car to glorify him some more and tell him the beauties of being an NBA player. By the way, aren't we missing something in this movie? Is there something in this movie that's missing that co-stars an NBA legend? Yeah, the NBA legend himself! Do you guys know how long this movie has been so far? 1 hour. And do you know how much screen time Kareem Abdul-Jabbar has had so far as well? Around 2 freaking minutes. I swear on my honor, I am not kidding. That is literally how much screen time he's had so far. The only times we ever see him is when he first meets Ernest to give him the shoes to help him out, and a pointless random scene where he's having small talk with Barry's son. On top of that, we still have 30 minutes of movie left, and the cover of the movie shows him as if he's one of the main stars of this movie. So I must ask, why the hell are we seeing little to no Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in this movie? If he's on the front cover of the movie, then obviously we all expect him to be one of the main characters that appears the most in this movie. It makes no dadgum sense. You know what? This movie just pulled a double team on us. You know, that movie that starred another NBA legend despite he was rarely in the first half of the movie and was shown in the majority of the last half? Yeah, they pulled that on us. But as you probably figured out, this movie is even worse than what they did with Double Team. Since of course we rarely see any of the NBA legend at all despite being shown on the cover of the movie as one of the main stars. I can't help but feel copped out by such lame crap like this. What a horrible case of false advertisement. Shame on you, movie! Shame on you! So after Mr. and Mrs. Stalky McGrady jam all the facts about being an NBA star to Ernest, this makes him turn into quite the attention-seeking jackass, which doesn't really please Barry that much. And to make things better, remember when I brought up that Barry's kid wanted the same pair of shoes Ernest has? You know what he does now? He takes his dad's keys for the sporting goods gate, unlocks the gate, and steals them. Kid, what the hell is wrong with you? First of all, those shoes look to be too big for your feet. I'll doubt they'll be able to fit you. And second, your dad's going to eventually find out that you stole them. He's not an idiot. He's intelligent and he'll probably search your stuff and stumble across them eventually. Trust me, I know that parents will do that. Good God, kid, you're a broken record of hard-headedness. You never think things through and you end up looking like a self-centered brat that people want to beat your ass for doing something so stupid. Anyway, the night of the big game has arrived. Everyone shows up and Ernest receives a oh for God's sakes, really? You had to make an overdone interest for his big game too? Even popular NBA players like Kobe Bryant and Kevin Garnett don't get overblown interests like this. So the game begins and Ernest, yet again, scores a crap ton of points. But this time, instead of allowing his teammates to get the opportunity to play, he acts like an attention seeker and scores every single one of their points. Yeah, I'm not gonna play that song again. Here's another Rev Runner quote instead.
He's unlovable, unstoppable, unbelievable! He shoots!
So the first half ends and Ernest and his team is so far destroying the game, and his teammates show their annoyed mood to him by fussing at him for not giving them a chance to at least play. And honestly, I kinda don't blame them for that either. Now Ernest is starting to hit reality as he starts feeling bad for the guys, and it doesn't really help that Barry's son sneaks into the locker room and glorifies him some more and talks down to his father. The next half starts and Ernest tries to let his teammates get an opportunity to play.
Ernest hits to Barry work. World passes it back to Worrell. Worrell to work. Worrell to Worrell. Worrell's in stone.
Oh, for the love of all greatness, are you serious? He's passing the ball to you and you just pass it right back to him after your teammates bitched about not getting any playtime? Here's a brilliant thought, you guys. When he's passing you the ball, shouldn't that give you a hint that he's wanting you to play? I mean, come on, even a dumb high school student who flunks most of his subjects would comprehend that. Did you guys get a sudden dose of short-term memory loss after your bitching? So in order to get the message across to them, Ernest gets himself injured trying to block a player's shot.
Come on, Ernest, snap out of it, okay? We gotta finish the game. Now, come on.
I can't. You guys do it. I'm hurt. Old football injury. Redskins, you know. Huh?
Come on, Ernest. We can't win this thing without you.
Well, sure you can. You guys can win it. You're a team. You're a basketball machine, remember? You guys can do it. Hard work will do it.
Yes, duh.
The guys play for the rest of the game, and to make sure they do, Ernest takes off the shoes and tells both the old freak and Irma to piss off.
What do you want? Anything. You name it, the world can be yours, man. Just finish the game.
I wanted to be on the team, and I'm not, and it's my own fault.
What about me, Ernest?
You're not what I thought.
You're making a big mistake, Mr. Worrell.
No, I'm not. Now get away from me and leave me alone.
Oh, Ernest.
Both of them. Get away from me and leave me alone.
You are going to be very sorry.
You know, Ernest, if you were going to go all out, you should have said something like this to him.
You are going to be very sorry.
I have no idea what you're saying. And your suit sucks.
He throws the shoes away and where'd you come from?
What is he doing? Ernest is giving up his shoes?
Well, I guess he thought it was the right thing to do.
Nice of you to say this despite having the least screen time out of all the characters in this movie. So the rest of the game goes rather well for the most part as they show the rest of the game in another montage. But then one of the guys gets fouled out, meaning that Ernest has to play for the rest of the game. But this time he doesn't have his shoes, and there's only 5 seconds left of the game, and the Charlotte Hornets lead by 1 point. Could Ernest possibly pull a miracle here?
Ernest! Shoot! Shoot it, Ernest! Do it up! Yes, Ernest! Shoot the ball! Shoot the ball!
I know what you're thinking. Don't shoot it, Ernest. It'd be better if you just pass me the ball.
Boy, that's a pretty long 5 seconds right there for all of this to happen. Did they forget to calculate how much time there was left on the clock? What's up with this damn NBA from another planet?
Ernest, don't shoot it!
No, 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 no. Sorry, I call major bogus on that. Because if the ball touches anything out of bounds, it should be the opposing team's ball. And as we clearly saw, the ball hits Dr. Love, a chair, a wall out of bounds, the coach for the Charlotte Hornets, and Ernest's head. that's nowhere near the basket. So yeah, with all this in mind, I call bullshit and the points shouldn't count. But hey, logic doesn't defy this movie, so Ernest and his team wins the game. Back at the mall after what Kareem said to Barry's son, he returns the shoes back to the store and... well, I can't really simplify what happens next, so I'm just gonna have to show you.
So, you figured out that I was after Quincy all along. I had that kid the moment he laid eyes on those shoes.
But you didn't see Ernest coming, Zamil. You lost big time.
You know, I gotta hand it to you. Using the Yahoo with the brown hat and the magic shoes on, that was brilliant. I was totally blindsided.
I figured you'd be up to your same old tricks.
Oh, well, they work most of the time.
But not this time.
Wait a minute. How did you know Ernest would make the right decision? For that matter, how did you know Ernest would become Quincy's role model? You cheated!
It's chess, baby. I was 3 moves ahead. But I had help. I'm not saying I did this on my own, you know.
Well, you won this one all right.
Maybe the next time Quincy crosses your path, he'll recognize you.
Enjoy the game. Till next time.
And to answer your question, no, I have no clue how they know each other. Probably because they never gave hint or anything, but still. Are they rivals? Is the old freak the devil of basketball sporting goods or something? Did Kareem have some little plan that was never hinted at or anything? I have no clue. But hey, the end credits are just around the corner, so let's just go along with this and wrap things up. The guys leave after the fight, Barry's son respects his father again, and Ernest gives us the typical last monologue before the end credits show, like in almost all the other Ernest movies.
Ah, the sweet smell of victory. And all it took was my spider-like reflexes, my dazzling hand-eye coordination, and of course, a little fancy footwork. Know what I mean?
I'll just assume that his fancy footwork ended up breaking some of his bones, and we'll call it a wrap. So that was Slam Dunk Ernest. What is there to say? It's stupid, it's crazy, it's nonsensical. But you know what? I somewhat kind of enjoyed it. Now, does the movie have flaws? Yes. Some of the characters are kind of obnoxious and you don't get to know them very well, nor do we see them interact with each other that much. Some of the humor kind of falls flat on its face, the basketball scenes don't really feel that exciting and feel rushed, and of course there's little to no Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in this movie, despite being one of the main characters and being on the cover of the movie. That last one right there felt like it was the thing that hurts the movie the most to me, because we don't see him interact with Ernest that much, nor do we learn anything about him either. And all he really ever did was give Ernest the shoes to help him play, which, okay, that did help him, but wouldn't it be a lot cooler if they were to let Jabbar and Varney have a talk with one another a good chunk of the time, and actually help Varney's character out by showing him what he knows rather than just give him something just to make it quicker? I mean, I'm not asking every movie that stars an NBA player to pull out a Space Jam or anything, but something like that would have probably made this movie a little bit better. But on the positive sides, I highly praise Varney and his performance, as you can actually tell that he's showing dedication and effort into his role that he's playing. And I did laugh at some of the humor that the movie has to offer, so not all the humor is bad. In fact, Varney gave probably all the funny moments that I liked in this whole movie, and that sort of gives his performance a plus. It's a serious guilty pleasure on my part, and I still had some fun with it. Granted, it's all not that great or anything, but I still like it. I really wouldn't recommend this movie to any of you, as the other Ernest movies are a tad bit better than this one, but for me, it's nothing harmful. So if you want a movie that you know is going to be kind of stupid, but has the effort from some of the actors and the directors and whatnot, then I guess you could give it a run and see what you think. Otherwise, this movie probably isn't for you, or you should go check out the other Ernest movies. I'm the Hedgehog Ninja. I hope I served your time well, and I'll see you guys next time.
Supersonic Ram heats him up at the speed of light!